control spike plant, but especially when that's a 4-bar, sheer bias of, like, I can't remember who, I think it was Calder Mentor went for a mid-peak on Haven with an Odin, and he was trying to convince me why that was a good idea. And then he gets one kill, and he's like, see? It's like, no, that doesn't justify people using it forever.
No, the exception to the rule is actually the law that we will follow, Tom. So that's it. We should all do that now, going forward. I kind of miss Mitch. I hope he's doing good, you know? He put out a tweet today saying he's feeling a little bit better, you know? He's getting there. He'll return one day. Is he back tomorrow? I think he's back tomorrow. Maybe. Fingers crossed.
I could never leak that sort of information.
True. Sorry, no, you're right. I shouldn't try and pry it out of you like this. But maybe the Odin is like a, I don't know, like a foretelling of the
calling.
Times. Exactly. It's
he hears it rattling off, and he's like, oh! What was that?
Just wakes up from his slumber. Double stack towards side of the jump peak from tanking. Again, this timing could be perfect. Yeah, there it is. Again, full info found. And now a little bit tougher to work with. They are. That's kind of brave. And the paranoia, the combination of the knife, it's so perfect. It's actually perfect to watch. It's so hard to hit that site with good utility work. It's just beautiful to witness. And Yuri's left with an insurmountable, you know, scenario in front of him. Maybe he finds Sender and opens up a chance, but Sender playing this, I don't want to say safe, but safe enough. That's how get the job done. Good work from Sender, who's been a constant nuisance, honestly. But this A piece has been now handled 2 times, and again, the knife being such a critical component, but the paranoia as well coming in from Batty G. There was no chance they could trade off that.
Yeah, I think there's a part of me that almost just wonders if that was not worth the sort of all-in take. Like, you've gone, okay, 4 players are here, we have no utility, let's see if we can just run at them and out-trade. I understand, maybe it's the surprise factor, but if they note that all of your players are there, I just don't really see the value of doing that anymore. I also just think as well that Natank must be reading off either the timing of when his knife come back online, it's just coincidental, or just okay, this is a logical time when they're going to go for a hit, so I'll just use it now and I'll get it back before the next sort of logical time that they'll go for those hits. And he's just catching them almost every single time they try and go for this A take. And it's like, in your mind a lot of the time you're going to think, okay, well, a Sage Walk can more directly delay, but if a team's trying to run into a site with no utility, like you can't have that sort of Sova drone, you can't have a dart to reveal some of these positions, you're basically relying on someone like Ambi to run in blind and just hit some shots. And that's when you almost get back to like matchmaking strats. You're just hopeful that your players are good enough, and a lot of the time they won't be.
It's everything's against you in that instance. And speaking of running in blind, I mean they literally were at that point. Like vision had been depleted, like everything in combination. Now it looks, and this is the tough scenario, isn't it? Like, okay, do we go into the Odin, or do we go into the man who seems to perfectly timed knives? Well, let's find out. See what they opt for. I wonder if they hear these steps. They might have an indoor. They certainly know they're there now. A little bit of spam, but Bonecall not giving away the game yet, being subtle with this Odin. Never
that
thought
is
I'd
a
say
sentence that has never been said.
Here we go. No! Me. Unleashes and gets punished. Perfect.
He did about, what, like 20 damage?
Yep.
That was pathetic. And he's just been killed back by a sheriff as well. Hyber now having to re-aggress, but has been spotted by the turret. Now, the one thing I'll say is, Kaze don't have much in terms of weaponry, but after that kill, there you go. They got some ults online.
They certainly do.
Oh.
Right.
Well, that's disappointing.
Well. A little bit paranoid about mid, and rightly so, because they did know that player earlier, but... Hyber's had a look back. Nice shot from Morphin. Okay. And now on the tank. What you got for us? Oh dear, no vision. You dashed it towards him. The tank. He gets a chance at it and still doing a bit of damage without holding on to this. They've recovered a rifle as well. Batty G, the timing not good for you. Morphin, perfect. This guy making a mountain out of what should have been a molehill of a round. Sender.
Planted.
Good for 2. The question mark on the 3rd. Spots the utility, notes the door has been shut, gets the first. And now has to figure out the rest. Challenged over by Tree, opens the door, Slow comes in. They're going to note this, they're going to hear all of this. Oh dear. Second, and there it is. Surely. Of course. The curse. Once again, too powerful.
You gotta stop talking about it.
You made nothing. You said it.
I know,
You
but I wish
said
I
it.
didn't. I have regrets.
Well, unlucky. Unfortunate, really.
Turret out.
If someone can be bothered, can they count how many times he's not won a clutch?
It's a rough step.
Like, by one kill. By one. Anything else, it's like, fair enough. He's in a 1v4, he just gets killed, that's fine. But when it's one kill at the end... the worst thing is that was the least clean final frag I've ever seen.
What is this? I can't blame him for maybe not expecting the double stack there towards 3, but
No,
again,
of course.
it is just the curse in full effect. Once again, the knife. So once in this buy round, you can see the full focus. But for Casa, you'll take those sort of rounds. I mean, you weren't meant to have them, but...
rotated.
Huh.
I guess because Sender's deep down mid, but it looks like they're set up almost for a full retake. Really relying on the likes of the null command, maybe, because they don't have the lockdown. It's not even close. We saw it basically just traded out because at this point that's all that ultimate's useful for. But this is a really audacious stack up in towards the other side of the map, and they are basically just going to play this as a full retake.
Okay. Hyper is... does he get out? He does. Does he get to avoid the ult? Tag comes in, and bye-bye, Roxy. Punishing Hyper and giving them that player advantage, especially this post-plant, might be critical to this.
Delete it.
Wolfen, I don't know if he's actually in range of some of his
Bloody
utilities, so they're going to
hell.
walk past it. Look at the flank. Oh, I think it was noted that the turret went offline. That's at least something. And now Bone Cold, well, yeah, about right.
I mean, look, Wolfen we've given credit to when we saw him on, Chamber, right? Like, mechanically super slick with it, but certainly no slouch with a rifle either. This guy is good. This guy's all around good, but it was actually pretty imperative. Again, finding Hyper, taking him away from the instance, the over push, the over peek from Wolfen, and even the swing to CT. It's kind of juicy. And yeah, this has been one of those games, I feel. We got them heating up on both sides. And I do want to see if Vitality have the answer here. It was interesting they completely vacated that B side. Because they had been leaving like one player there, even if they'd seen everything with that knife towards A. Like, it'd just been how they've been playing it. But that EG might be in for more of a challenge than you'd expect here. 3, almost 4 players working through. There's the paranoia. Doesn't lose his cool, though. Keeps that composure. Dips away towards tree. Actually gets revealed as well. And Hunter's Fury going to come right on back out. Reading this. That's a big tag. I think I got 2. He did! He gets 2 as well. Bone Cold, beautiful. Wolfen and Full go down. And that's a majestic start. That is dreamy for Vitality.
I think he even tagged up maybe another 2 players. Because also Yuri just had to heal and Ambi is tagged as well. That's a ridiculous overall. I don't think you see many like that anymore. And now he's even in position to potentially just slaughter the rest of them. Gets the headshot through the wall. And, well, it's been ruined by Roxy. I'll be honest. That could have been one of the best aces we've seen in a while. But look at the crossfire he has to walk into. Look, this is the stupidest crossfire. Who plays 2 players at the door?
Vitality. All right, Roxy, have fun. You got 27 seconds to make an attempt, right? You go back to that original plan of the A site before the tragedy of the Hunter's Fury struck. You seem like you fancy it. All right. And he's going to have to take down the tank, who's in a really deep A main position, which is a problem. If he even gets the fight towards Batty G, that crossfire can just swing in at any
10
point.
seconds left.
And he's running out of time. Yeah, this is all but over. Roxy can make an attempt at it. Not going to get much out of it, but you got to give all of that round straight to Bone Cold.
Yeah, he genuinely is just a player that seems to turn up every couple of rounds. Quite a few rounds, I guess. Just do something utterly ridiculous. So you got the tags. I think he
did tag a third there as well, yeah.
Yeah. And I wonder if maybe even the first
could
connected
have
with
caught
someone
one.
else.
Mhm.
It's just
Turret out.
absurd. Luckily, though, can't say it's still in an alright spot. Are they going to try and counter wallbang? That's the plan. Counter wallbang. It's like, okay, Bone Cold just killed all of us. Let's wait for him to go for this same dart that he's been doing in almost every single round. And the thing is, they actually have a pot flash to go off the back of it. I like the idea. The tank is going to peek instead.
Okay. Yeah, I was about to say, the tank being here is very much a different look. Hadn't seen that yet, his adjustment over towards his sight when they've been doing these sort of hits. So, again, this is a horrible battle. Poor old lobster tail. Lobsters don't really have tails. Do they have? Oh, yeah, they can have tails.
I'm pretty sure you can purchase that, so...
Yeah.
Are you about to just take down the whole seafood industry?
No.
They do not have tails. Like, oh, no!
Isn't it that, like, lobsters don't die of, like, natural cause? You know what I mean? They don't get old, essentially. They don't die of old age.
I'm not going to lie to you. I am not an expert on lobsters.
Well, if someone is, tell me on
Maybe
Twitter.
Hypoc would have known that. I apologize.
I feel like Mike would have known that.
He's an incredibly knowledgeable man, so I almost would want to say he would have known.
Yeah. But,
and now I feel inadequate.
Well, you know, I'm no Mitch, so what can we do? You know, we'll try our best. The underhand flash is good. The tank just mutilates them on the way in. That is ridiculous work. The flash timing was good, and this is why we like the tank, man. This guy is unreal. Be it the knife timing, be it his utility work, whichever agent he's on, his utility work is just gorgeous. It is so damn good.
He's very quickly becoming one of my favorite KOs to watch. There's a lot of players that I think can sort of fill into that bracket, but I genuinely think that he is just exceptional at playing that role. And again, one of the reasons why this Vitality roster looks so good, it seems like they genuinely have a star in every single role.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way to put it, actually. It isn't just like, oh, they've got like two like heavy hitters, you know. No, it's everyone. And again, the tank, perfect timing, 4 players noted. They'll know that the 5th player is potentially mid. They absolutely know that now off the back of the arrow coming out. It's all there. Vitality getting wraps on this. At least in this round, it looks like rifle is recovered, put back in the hands of Ambi.
Deploying drone.
Bone cold. Again, more information. Oh, God. He's a nasty little player, isn't he? I wonder if that goes down to...
One enemy remaining.
Right. Well, I wouldn't want to be behind that box.
Oh,
there we go.
Yeah,
it was a matter of who gets it. Bone cold, continually spamming, or one of the others. But this has been a closer game. But once again, I have to highlight, this has been just brilliant work from some of the utility players coming out from Vitality. We have seen a couple of pop-off rounds, of course, from Bone Cold, for example. But, oof, that was clean. That was clean.
And then you've also just had Sender almost like just getting a few multi-frags here and there when they need it. He's 18-6 at the moment. Especially when you think of like the biggest plays of this half. I'm not even sure he makes the list, which is absurd. But it's obviously because Bone Cold and the tank have been doing some truly ridiculous things. And it's a shame because I feel like Kase had some pretty decent ideas. Lockdown's going to be used instantly. Why not? Oh, look, it's going to come in on the other side as well.
There it is. Okay, Yuri's going to at least get one punish on towards Sender. Lockdown did get destroyed for one, but again, Kase still have theirs on the go, so they do get the plant. Energy on the flank quickly. Tommy's working OT, earning his paycheck here. And did you check it? You absolutely do not. Yuri gets away with it. Cold-blooded murder. Energy down. And now on to 3. This burst has worked for Kase. Flashing. Not going to be able to get away from it.
I love how throughout this phone call has just been spamming the wall, hoping for a miracle, and now the tank needs to try and pull one off of his own. He's at least brought it back a little bit closer, but he's being spammed. So low on HP, down to just 7, and while running out of time as well.
Oof. Okay. This is a more competitive half. That's the one thing I will say. This is a far more competitive half than most of the other maps. We've had, 13-6 on Breeze, 13-7 Haven. This is much closer. We've seen both teams showing a little bit more of that competence here throughout. I would say utility work alone for me from the man on the screen there in the tank has been maybe a bit of a game changer to a degree, right, in keeping anything going in favor of Vitality. I think that he's been critical in that instance, but I do want to now see this composition work. And are we just kind of a straight-up bloodbath over by B main?
It does seem that way. It depends what utility is going to be used. It could just be almost walled off instantly if that was something that Yuri really wanted to do. Like, he doesn't have the slows available, so that might make sense. But with this many players, that seems unnecessary.
Sticking around here, running through. Bone Cold, you're not meant to get that kill, but Yuri is. Wall goes up, and now the entrance looking so unlikely. Can they get the jump off? And they can, actually. Hyper's over. Well, not good for much here, but maybe just to slow down the roll for a mere moment to allow that heal to come through, to reset the pace a little, to pull that rotation in. Roxy now in position. Got Hyper to tank and Batty G resetting a little. They've got plenty of time to work with because it was such a quick fight, Tom.
Yeah, that they can easily fall back and try and reclaim some control. A lot of reliance is going to be on Wolfen as well. Bear in mind, he only has a classic in this scenario, so the piece of utility he has isn't going to be ideal. Could potentially just spot if they try and go back in the other direction. And because of that, they can actually commit the majority of their players still in towards B, because he has spotted that no one's gone towards short, and the chance of them going all the way around is fairly slim.
Go into the side. No one holding contact yet. Holding deep on this lovely timing. Actually gets punished on it. All going to fall. And Yuri just making light work of them so far. A 1v2 now presented for Batty G, who has been super clutch. And actually he finds Roxy.
Cover going out.
Now the spike did get less short. See the smoke come up, allow him to pick up the spike and get away from any attention from Tommy. 13 seconds though. He's got very limited options. And it's Wolfen on the other side, who's been a saving grace for Kase in moments. But what does Batty G do? Takes the fight, looks for it, 24 HP. He ain't got much to play with, needs a big shot to come out now. Smoke back online. No committed towards that left side, and the swing. Super clutch work from Batty G. Wolfen as well. Like, these were two heavy hitting players for either side, and that defines a great deal here for Vitality. That could be now the 9th unlocked and potentially put them in a good position going forward, right? That was a big round to win, and off the back of such a bloody round, and Yuri putting in some heavy work, Tom. He was really trying to do what he can to save this side.
It's unfortunate. A Sage with a classic just managing to get 4 kills, and that's not enough for you to take it over the line, but some decent trading, some wraparounds, and of course a Batty G clutch is enough to take things back. And unfortunately, being on that defensive side, you don't get a plant, you don't get any extra credits really other than the ones you got off the back of kills, so taking a risk here, it's just not worth it. Whereas if they were on the attack, I wouldn't have been anywhere near as surprised. Also 3 rifles spot up here, Lauren. So Vitality, any real casualties or just loss of any of those more expensive weapons could be devastating. If they keep this clean, though, they're going to go in with a terrifying bonus.
Yeah. Let's see if it can be squeaky clean. Was it Mr. Muscle was the only thing, I think? Dude, I don't know. Look. It's been a couple of days of casting. Alright, Tom. So far, we're going to probably be in a retake, so I can think about Mr. Clean. I think he was the little bald dude who was like the mutton. That was Mr. Muscle. I'll get there eventually. And eventually, Kase will hit this flank. So they're going to get there as best they can, and you noted it early. Has to stay clean here. Those 3 rifles are prized possessions, Tom. They can't afford to lose these.
And they're actually set up as almost like a firing squad in on the flank, which is where the entirety of this squad are coming from. So there is an opportunity. I would say it's hella unlikely they get past 3, and well, thankfully that didn't actually let off a ping. So all you know is that there's currently 1 player in that direction. The thing is, though, the rest of the team are going to start exiting this way. You almost have to feel like Sender is dead here, unless they're just planning on going down to the spike now, which, okay, he might just be able to survive in this corner if nobody clears him.
That's the rifle lost. We didn't love seeing that. Do they all lose it? No, they get to steal it themselves. Ambi gets to keep his life. Pick up a little rifle. Not too bad. I mean, it's not the worst for either side, right? Like, it could have been better if you were being really quite critical about it. For Vitality, you obviously want to keep 1 player here, but maybe not the one with the rifle. You'd like to take him to that next round. Any sort of danger, especially of someone destroying that, the dart coming through. So they are going to reinvest anyway, so they still have those 3 rifles, but I feel as though it could have been such a more dangerous round for Vitality. But now, the light armor's there, still got the Spectres. And Roxy doing the Bone Cold impression, apparently, at this point. And Batty G almost had an angle on Ambi there.
Worked.
Oh, God, of course it's worked.
Straight away. I don't know if Sender was expecting that to be in so early, but a free opening kill and now a double back on towards short. Yuri's going to be in position. He might be able to just delay them with the wall, but it would be very quickly broken.
Oh, the timing couldn't have been worse. Got caught with utility in the hand. Now Ambi slows it down, luckily. Plays from Heaven going to take one on the way. Natang now lost. Aldrone comes in, at least buying time for the plant and then noting where that player is falling back to. But no big information. Of course, they're towards Heaven. But how do they hold this post plant? Hell's not going to be safe if that Odin comes in and spams it away. Which, right on cue, spams it away. So they're going to be sitting just out of position to an extent. Now, dipping in towards the smoke, though, Vitality waiting for them to make that commitment towards the site.
Oh, it's gone all wrong. They're just been slaughtered on the other side. Hyber, solid position. Batty G doing the same. And well, almost seemed a little short-lived on the other side. Just by keeping all of those rifles in hand and just a sort of faster pace in towards that site, you almost have to look at this and say, okay, there was a real opportunity here, but Hyber, fantastic on that re-aggression, and Batty G alongside him once again. The post plants from Vitality looking on point, and even with the early kills going the way of Kase, I don't know, I think that might be their road towards that lower bracket sealed.
Yeah.
It looks like those early indicators, right? Like this should be 11, considering they are on Sheriffson and Marshall. And trying to get cheeky in middle and get caught through smoke. That's kind of sucks for 4. In the Aldrone, just confirming there's no one else around here. Now, there is that one player towards short. That's going to be Ambi. And that triple stack over towards B main.
Yeah, they're almost just hoping that somebody walks right into the trap. The only thing that makes me a little bit worried is just seeing Bone Cold still sat there spamming with an Odin and also having the spike. But instead, they're going to go pushing in. And Wolfen, honestly, I feel like he should just play Chamber because basically he has a free pistol every time. And whenever he buys one, he's just wrecking them.
Yeah.
And while the wrecking crew has come back in on the other side just to make sure that nothing else comes through. Extra orb for Ambi. Getting him closer to that Blade Storm is at least something for this round, but getting any damage here, he'd need a miracle. I don't know how he's going to get anywhere near the players on the other side.
All right, Ambi. What have you got for us? 4 potential targets. Closing in towards CT. Bone Cold maybe caught on the cross out. And then jump peek in the corner, smoke goes up, and now position noted. So Ambi going to lose much opportunity now. Team gets suppressed. So, as said, options not looking particularly great here for this man.
Yeah, he's probably just going to go down to the spike. Like, the thing is, on the other side, Vitality don't really have too much of a need to go on the hunt. Like, Bone Cold is quite far from his ult. Natank is 1 away. If he really wanted to get that, he could just go for the A orb next round, or they could really fight towards B main. And, yeah, eventually, just to get the extra credits, Ambi's going to go down. The thing is, though, it's a really tough spot, because you're coming in, your ult economy is far worse than your opponent's. Okay, lockdown, in most cases, isn't going to be a massive game changer, especially when you have a Sova on the other side, but it can be utilized in afterblunts if they manage to get into a strong position already. I am scared of the null command, though, especially when you've got Wolfen a lot of the time going to be playing around his utility. That orb, just look at it, all of that is going to go offline within a second unless he's playing very, very passive.
Don't think that's going to be the case, is it? Let's find out. Already Ambi the one to have to really do the initial damage, and he's just diffed. Hyber swings it, punishes him, doesn't get away from it. Wolfen gets to at least have a chance at it, but Batty G jumping up towards site still outdoes him. Fair enough, man. They can't do anything wrong. But the spike is still in the hands of Bone Cold. Does need to make it towards the side. Careful now. First, there's a little bit of chip damage, but it's not enough to dissuade the spike plant at this point. Hyber on guard duty as well, catching out Roxy. Now the final 2, it's fallen Yuri to try and deny 12 from the board. A little bit of utility to play with, but it ain't a great deal. They don't have much of a step into this.
Yeah, they had to use the paranoia just to clear out the position that Hyber had been playing over a couple of rounds. He loves that aggressive angle around the back of the smoke just to basically catch players off guard as they try and push back through. And the remaining 2 basically have no choice but to just save. And the terrifying thing is that I actually do think they were looking to try and build in and get the null command and then go in for the take. but Hyber was just so quick to get an entry. It was almost like, well, I'm not just going to sit here and wait for you to activate. I'm going to take the space and just win us the round. And that's scary, because it means like they can almost at this point just ignore the initial plan. Just go, okay, we're just winning this round anyway. And we still have that for the next round now.
Ah, man, come on. I wanted a close game. And if this ends, let's say 13-5, it's the least competitive we've had, scoreline-wise.
Wonderful. Well, it was said on the desk there needed to be a 2-0 if Casse were going to win. I think a lot of confidence in what Vitality have to bring. And, yeah, this attacking side has been perfect. Their defense was decent, but this attack has... they've barely looked like they've broken a sweat. And as I said, they still have all of those ultimates ready and available online for a round like this, whereas on the other side, okay, you have a res, maybe you can get the lockdown online with a kill, but that's not really filling me with confidence.
No, we're seeing Vitality in control of this game, and it's going to be tough for Casse to try and find those moments to bring it back. However, they are going to at least clear through B main, but while this is happening, you can see Hyber starting to build that control towards middle. Look to taking space over towards Pizza. And actually going to commit further, and why not? This could be the perfect read. He could go all the way to CT. No one is at the back of this. You can see eventually Roxy might consider this. Lockdown comes in. And not particularly one to be too worried about just yet. There's the problem though. Natank going to pop the ult. And Roxy has to respect this and actually takes the tank down. Game back on. They haven't got the perfect crunch at all, Hyber. Only good for one, but the trades come in quick succession. Vitality shutting it down, and it's all on Ambi with a Guardian of all things. Spike planted Tom. It's looking like a formality here. He's still making a good case for it, trying to do what he can. Still suppressed again. So oppressive in approach, is so much against him. Batty G still has smokes. He can just dip around the site if he wants to. Another layer of utility committed. How much can one man do? And he predicts the swing, but it's Batty G to shut it down. Vitality put up a clinical performance, 13-5. As said, the furthest from competitive we've had so far, and they looked like they were in charge that entire game.
Yeah, and I feel like we're starting to see those sort of maps that they're confident on versus the maps that maybe not